I'm going to make a very simple egg-based pasta. Very simple ingredients. It just calls for olive oil. I'm going to use extra virgin milk, eggs, and flour. I'm using the same computo flour that we use for the ravioli here. It's 8 ounces. Put the flour in the bowl and just kind of make a little bit of a well.
Can you use regular flour if you're doing this at home?
You can use regular flour, but the computo flour is a little bit softer, and in the end, it's going to result in a little more less toothy pasta.
Cool. Where do you get it?
We get ours from Tarantino's.
Tarantino's is it?
Yeah. Then I got 6 egg yolks here. Go right into the well that we've just created.
Just the yolks, not the whites.
Just the yolks, and then I have 1 whole egg. Goes right in there as well.
Yeah, they talk about that little well when you're making pasta. What's that about?
Well, you'll see here in a second. It kind of helps everything get going. I've got 1 tablespoon of milk here, just regular old 2% milk. In a pinch, you can use heavy cream or skim, whatever you got. I don't really recommend using water, but if it's all you have, you can go ahead. And I've got 1 teaspoon of the extra virgin, then a half. A little pinch of salt in there. Alright, now we're just going to start going ahead and incorporating these ingredients. I'm going to kind of mix up the yolks and the oil and the milk.
Can you bring this over to the camera a little bit
right
closer?
Here?
Perfect.
That's good. Just kind of get those going with your fingertips until they're all incorporated. And then as you're going, it's going to kind of start pulling in the flour from the sides of the bowl. Real nice and gentle, real slow. Give the bowl a little shake.
You like making pasta, Kevin?
Absolutely, it's a ton of fun, and you know, it's so simplistic, and the flavors when you're done just make all the difference in the world. And this dough is really universal. You can make angel hair out of this, you can make fettuccine out of this, you can make ravioli, tortellini.
How do you know when you're done?
Well, when all that stuff is kind of incorporated there, and you got one solid ball, you're going to go ahead, rid of your bowl there. A little more flour on your workspace, and you're just going to want to knead the pasta. This is going to incorporate all those ingredients and really get them all bound together as one. This particular recipe, it's kind of hard to over knead the dough. It usually takes about 10 minutes. Sometimes it can go as long as 15. You start drying out a little, just give yourself a little more flour on the board there.
Can you use too much flour?
Yes, absolutely. You can definitely dry out the dough. You want it to have a nice elasticity to it.
Yeah.
Okay, if you go too far with the flour, it's just going to start breaking and becoming brittle. You're just kind of just turning the dough around and just kind of pushing down and out on it. Alright, now you got your dough. It's all pretty much together. Alright, I like to make a nice little neat ball. Like that. Simple. I think that took us all of what, 8 minutes tops. Wrap this up in plastic wrap, let it sit out room temperature for about an hour, and then you're ready to start rolling. Next we're going to make wonton wrappers. This is very easy. It's a classic Asian ingredient. You can use it for making egg rolls. I like to make pot stickers with them. Steamed dumplings are also great with this. You can get them at the Chinese store. They're just fresh, frozen little pasta sheets, really.
But you don't like those as well as the homemade?
No. And it's so simple, it really doesn't make sense not to make it. You need basically only 2 ingredients here. AP flour, and I'm not really even going to measure here.
You said AP again.
All-purpose.
Oh, all-purpose. Nice.
Alright, and we're going to start with our well here. Alright. Add some water.
That's impossible. What could be that simple?
Oh, here we go.
How much do you think you're adding?
I really couldn't tell you.
Oh, come on.
So we're just going to start. Here.
So for the viewers at home, they're just going to have to
just play around. It's only going to cost you a couple bucks in flour. So, all right, we got a nice base starting here. It's starting to incorporate.
Well, that looks like the paste we used to make in kindergarten.
Exactly, right? And again, if I added too much water, I could always add a little bit of flour here. If I added too much flour, I can add in a little bit of water, but it looks like I'm pretty much where I needed to be, surprisingly.
No salt?
Nope, not on this one. Sometimes I like to add a little bit of soy sauce. It gives a little bit of color. Kind of got that ball stage here now. We're just going to press it together.
And what do you like to make with these, or will you tell us that when you're
I
done?
do, yeah. I'll actually go through it with you.
Okay,
we'll make
great.
a little something for it, a little flour. Just going to knead this the same as the other one. And again, you got that nice kind of elasticity there. Feels a little bit wet, so I'm just going to add a little bit of flour.
Because you don't want it too sticky, obviously.
Right, exactly. Otherwise, when we go through the pasta maker, it'll just kind of get gummed up in there.
Oh, you're going to put the wontons through the pasta maker,
Yep.
or is that just a... Oh.
I mean, if you don't have a pasta maker, this dough you can actually really roll out yourself, get it nice and thin.
Mm-hmm.
But because I have the means, I'm going to use them. In this dough, you don't really need to let it rest too much.
Oh, that's nice. So when you're in a hurry, you could put any sauce on it you wanted?
Exactly. Just rock it out.
Wow!
Get it going.
Now that's a good recipe.
Alright, got this going pretty good here, so run it through the old mill here. So get that out there. I had mentioned that generally we do Asian ingredients with this type of dough, being that it's the wonton. But today I'm going to show you a little something different. We're actually going to use a ricotta and oxtail stuffing.
Oh, wow.
Which is, it kind of shows you the versatility of the dough here. So let me grab that. And so I got kind of a nice square that I just rolled out.
Okay.
You know, cut it. We're going to take a little bit.
Now tell me about this ricotta oxtail stuffing.
Okay, what we did is we took the oxtail and we seared it. And then we braised it in red wine, onions, shallots, garlic. And just kind of let that stew and simmer for about 7 hours. And we take that out, we pick down the meat, mix it in with ricotta cheese, and then there's some parsley, some herbs, a little bit more garlic in there, and it just kind of makes this nice little stuffing. Alright, now I don't want to overstuff this, so just a little dollop in the center there. I have just a little bit of cornstarch and water here.
Cornstarch and water?
Right. We're just going to brush the edges like so. Alright. And we're going to take the corner, fold it into the other side there. Going to press it down. We're going to take the brush, hit off one corner here. Alright. We're going to take it, push up with our thumb like this, and then take this corner and push it over to this side here. Alright. You kind of see the back. Little handmade oxtail tortellini with wonton there.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Nice job. How are you going to serve that?
These we're actually going to do deep fried, and then we're going to serve it with a little bit of demi-glace. So it should be pretty tasty.
Nice. Now what are you going to show us next?
Alright, now we're going to do a handmade potato gnocchi. It's potato-based pasta, which is actually quite a bit of fun. I've got about 4 potatoes here that are hot. I'm going to add some butter. A lot of traditional recipes that I've seen don't add butter.
It is serious butter.
I like to add a lot.
How many potatoes?
This is 4 potatoes and about
and
almost...
a pound of butter.
Yeah, it's quite a bit of butter.
Holy
Salt and pepper.
moly.
Alright, we're going to rice our potatoes right onto that butter. To melt in the stove there.
So you've got what looks to me like about a pound of butter, but not really.
No.
Probably 3/4 of a pound.
Yeah.
And 4 potatoes.
4 potatoes.
Which is ridiculously fattening, but
Right.
you know, when you add that much butter, it's got to be mind-blowing. What do you think?
Butter makes everything better.
Yeah, in this case, I think these are already
So we're going to get these nice and smooth. We got the butter melted into the potatoes here. They're nice and smooth. Got our salt and our pepper in there. Now we're going to add some cheese, a pretty fair amount. I like to use Parmesan Reggiano. The cheese, when we saute it in the pan, is going to actually kind of brown up and get nice and crisp. It's going to really make these stand out. 1 whole egg. Again, this is my own recipe here. A lot of traditional recipes call for just the yolk. I like to use the whole thing. Alright, still nice and smooth. And now we're just going to start adding our flour. Just a couple shakes at a time. Again, I'm using the Caputo flour here again. You can make this with all-purpose, but I like the softness of the Caputo flour.
Is that a European flour you get from, say, I don't know, Italy?
Yes. Just going to keep adding flour a little bit at a time. Alright, now it's kind of got that ball stage here. I'm going to spread it out onto my board. And this is another one of those doughs that you really want to make sure you knead very well. Incorporate everything that you have in there. And we're actually going to keep adding flour as we're kneading it in here.
And you said this is another one of those doughs that you have to do what to?
You really want to make sure you knead it well.
Because what will happen if you don't?
If you don't, it's just going to be kind of, it'll fall apart and it won't stay together. You have that nice elasticity like you've been seeing.
Yes.
Right? And this you actually want to have a fair amount of flour in. It's getting nice and soft here, coming together.
For potatoes makes a huge amount.
Yeah,
of,
it makes a really fair amount. So it looked like a lot of butter, but I'm really making quite a bit of gnocchi here because we're using it on our menu, obviously.
Perfect.
So I figure I might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
Lucky us, yes.
It's nice and together. You can see kind of the consistency there. Okay.
Yes.
Just gonna make sure that it's all formed together. Kind of pat it down into like a square. Put a little flour over the top. A little flour on my workspace. Alright, now what we're going to do is cut our dough into like a rope. Just kind of roll it. Roll it out into a rope here. And the size of the gnocchi really depends on you. A lot of gnocchi I've seen are like usually around that size. I like mine to be a little bit bigger. Gnocchi is generally around that size. I like mine to be a little bit puffier. So we're gonna go ahead, just cut these into the desired size. Pretty uniform, but not exact. That's all right. It looks more handmade that way and really kind of, sets you apart. This is a gnocchi board. You can get this pretty much anywhere. I think it's like $3 at Premier.
Yeah.
And then you just take your cut side, put it down on the board, and gently roll out. All right, you see what that does there is make a nice little pocket where your thumb was, and then the board has the lines and the grooves that actually helps catch the sauce, and that's what the sauce is going to stick to right there.
Got it. A little sauce catcher. I always wondered how gnocchi's got those.
And then you're just going to go through the rest of your batch there.
Look at how quickly you're doing that.
Roll them out.
So you're putting your thumb on the side, not necessarily in the middle.
Right. Just right when you pick it up, you want the side that's cut right on the board because it's a little stickier, and it'll grab the board a little bit better. You can roll them out like that. If you don't have a gnocchi board, you can use a fork. Same way.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Can you cook them without any of that fuss?
What do you mean? Oh, yeah, absolutely. You can roll it right into a rope like this.
Mm-hmm.
Cut them into your desired shape and drop them right in the water. The only thing about that, though, is that you're not going to have those nice lines and that nice little pocket in the back there to soak up whatever kind of delicious sauce you're going ahead and serving it with. It helps, too, when you're rolling these out, if you roll it out onto a floured cutting board. Mm-hmm. That way there's not a lot of touching them when you're going to pick them up and actually drop them into the water.
Yeah. I would imagine if it's like bread dough or pie dough, the more you touch them, the tougher they get.
Exactly, and plus you got such a nice shape on them now too. If you're gonna go pick them up like this, you might kind of bind them together or lose your nice shape. You can switch up this recipe with any kind of potato you want. Sweet potato gnocchi is also fun. And it's really completely versatile. We do a sweet potato gnocchi with maple syrup and brown sugar. It's really your world. You can use any kind of potato.
Sounds wonderful.
All right.